Hello, everyone, and welcome to another match reaction show on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie, and I'm your host for today's show. Not the best of performances from Liverpool, however, we managed to get the win, and that is the most important thing at this stage of the Champions League. 7 wins out of 7, still top of the table. So, right now, we're on the verge of cleaning out the Champions League. One more game left, and then hopefully, we can complete the set. So today, what we'll do a quick match review of the game, and then I'll do my player ratings. And it's also a calling show. So if you'd like to come on and have your say, the floor is yours. A link has been pinned in the live chat, so feel free to hit that link anytime, and I'll get you on towards the end of the show. So let's start with our match review um, of course, Liverpool versus Lille. A very quiet half, not just for Liverpool, but also our opponents, Lille. I feel like it was a game where it was played at a very slow pace, not much intensity, but there were certainly moments that could have changed the game. Lille pretty much played us on the counter attack, and they attacked us on a number of occasions, especially on that left hand side where we got invaded quite a lot. But luckily for us, they couldn't really create any real chances on that side. Liverpool, on the other hand, had plenty of possession on and off the ball, but just lacked that killer pass in the final third. And that's been the story of Liverpool in the last few games, in my opinion. But Liverpool managed to break the deadlock, and it came through Simicas's tackle on Jonathan David. A lot of um, disgruntled Lille players running after the referee saying that was a foul. It was definitely not a foul. It was a clean tackle from the Greek Scouser. The Reds took advantage as Curtis Jones hits a fantastic first time through ball to split the Lille defense open. Salah goes through and goal and curls it into the top corner to make it 1-0. And that's his 50th goal in Europe for Liverpool. Another milestone for the Egyptian King. Salah could have scored his second just before halftime as Luis Diaz hits a sublime ball to Salah, who matches it with an equal type of quality in terms of his first touch. He's through on goal, and at that stage, I started clapping my watch. I'm thinking he's going to hit the back of the net, but unfortunately, he just missed the post and was denied his second goal of the game. So very close for Mohamed Salah, but that was the first half. In terms of the second half, Elliot and McAllister came on for Curtis Jones and Granberg, which was a slight surprise as Arnold normally doesn't do instant substitutions at halftime. The Curtis Jones one, I think it might be due to an injury. He did pick up a slight knock in the first half, so hopefully it's nothing too serious and it's something where he is available in upcoming fixtures. The groundwork one might just be due to fatigue or a tactical approach. There's no sort of confirmation of that. But after McAllister and Elliott were brought onto the pitch, I think Liverpool's style of play changed a little bit. They played a bit more urgency, a bit more on the front foot. Kwanzaa had a fantastic chance to score from a set piece, but unfortunately he was unable to keep his head down as it goes over the bar. Big turning point for the whole game, but more so for Liverpool is that um, the right back Mandy ended up picking up a second yellow on his foul um, on Luis Diaz. So down to 10 men, but when the team's down to 10 men, you're expecting them to play a bit more on the defensive. That wasn't the case for Lille. They were on the attack and they pretty much scored a goal out of nothing. Um, they invaded us on the left hand side. Conor Bradley was, taken out of the game at that moment. Low cross towards the middle of the box. Jonathan David gets enough of a touch to place it into the corner to make it 1-1. And then McAllister also had a chance from a set piece where he produced a header, and that unfortunately just missed the target as well. But Elliott, who obviously came on as a halftime sub, got the second and the winning goal for the Reds. It came from a corner kick where he received it on the edge of the box, smashed it towards the target. He did get a huge deflection off Macau, I think the player was, and it still hit the back of the net. So look, overall, not a spectacular performance by no stretch of the imagination. It wasn't vintage Liverpool or anything like that. It was more so of a professional performance, similar to how we've had games against Red Bull Leipzig where we didn't play our best football, but what we did do was manage to get the win, and that's all that counts at this stage of the competition. It's all about trying to get as many points as possible. So a good sort of conclusion to the game where we managed to get 3 points, and now we can focus on to our next game, which is in the Premier League against Ipswich Town. Uh, but before we do, what we'll do the player ratings, and feel free to get involved in the chat if you want to add your scores. If there's any callers, I'll bring them on after the player rating. So let's start with the goalkeeper. So Alisson, for me, wasn't kept very busy in this game. He was pretty much a spectator more so. Obviously, he made saves here and there, but nothing that was for me troubling or anything to that notion. It was more so routine catches and routine saves and routine passes and routine throws and all that sort of stuff. So pretty much had a solid performance. I'm glad there's no more agenda on Alisson. It's been, highly talked about that his, form has dipped over the last couple of weeks. He hasn't been prime Alisson, don't get me wrong, but he hasn't been that poor in my opinion. So hopefully that agenda has been put to bed and Alisson can continue showcasing his talent going forward. So for me, in terms of his performance, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. I'll be really honest, in terms of Conor Bradley's performance, I don't think he had the best of games. I thought defensively he was quite vulnerable. He was out of position quite a few times. He got twisted up and he got breezed past quite a few times as well. So not a great day from a defensive point of view. Obviously, the goal that happened from Lille, he got easily beaten on that left-hand side. And even from an attacking point of view, I don't think he had his best game. There was times where he was running infield, but he was running at full speed, but not really having any idea what he was doing. Generally speaking, he's very calculated when he strides forward, and he's a bit more measured in terms of his passing. Today, I'm not sure what he was thinking today. It looked like he was just trying to bomb forward and go for goal. There's that one moment where he was through on goal on the edge of the box on the right side, and he had Nunes and even had Salah past Darwin Nunes waiting around the penalty spot. He ends up going for a shot on goal and it goes way over the bar. And that was just a ridiculous decision from him. You have two strikers in that moment. The goal wasn't really there for him to take a shot at. So I was quite disappointed in that moment. So I thought he was very average today, not his great performance. So I know we got the win, but I have to be honest in terms of my individual rating for each player. I'm giving him a 6 out of 10. Kwanzaa for me had a solid performance today. He wasn't spectacular or anything to that. Thinking is more so that he was keeping everything simple, wasn't exposed as much, and just kept it neat and tidy at the back. So for me, another solid performance from Kwanzaa. Good to see him get some game time. He's been in and out of the team quite a bit. I feel like these are the games where he should be utilized a little bit more, especially with Konate just returned from injury. Doesn't seem to be fully fit. So I thought this was a good game to bring in Kwanzaa and just, make sure he's maintaining his match fitness. So whenever he's called upon, he's fit and ready to play. So for me, solid performance overall. So I'll give him a 7 out of 10. Van Dijk for me was, yeah, our rock at the back as always. Uh, Nothing really went past him, kept it neat and tidy. Passing was good as well. I remember one pass where it went in between Bradley and Salah towards the end of the game, but I just don't think Conor Bradley was on the same wavelength. But generally speaking, kept composure, was leading the defensive line very well, communicating with Simicast quite a bit, making sure he pushes up when he needs to be a bit more advanced rather than dropping deep. So definitely in charge of how we are set up defensively and just made sure that nothing got past us. So in terms of the goal, yeah, he was kind of close to it. I wouldn't say he was at fault, even though it would appear that his reaction was a bit delayed. But I think it's just one of those things where we got caught by surprise, and the shot wasn't the keenest of strikes, and he still managed to hit the back of the net. So no fault in terms of any particular player, in my opinion. but I thought he was solid today. So in terms of his rating, I'll give him an 8 out of 10. I thought he was very solid today. Simicast really impressed me today. I was very impressed with his all-round game. Defensively, really sound. He had, is it Baka on that side? And I'll be honest with you, he was very quiet in this game. Was not involved at all. And then they tried to switch players around and still no impact. So for me, defensively very good. And even from an attacking point of view, I just thought his passing was, it wasn't where he was just passing, hit into like hit and miss type of moments. It was more so very calculated, very calm, composed, and he made the right decisions with his passes. It wasn't just Hollywood passes across the pitch. He was making sure that the ball was ticking, and he would definitely, pass and move and present as another option when they're further up on the pitch. So I thought his overall play was very good today. Um, in terms of the goal, it was his tackle that led to the assist for Curtis Jones to Mohamed Salah. So he didn't get direct assist, but pretty much played a part in that one. So for me, I was very impressed with Simicast, and I think he's probably one of our best players in defense. So he gets an 8.5 out of 10. Gravenberg, of course, only played one half of the game. Um, in terms of what I saw, I thought he was decent, kept everything neat and tidy. I'm just hoping there's no injury to Gravenberg and of course Curtis Jones. But no, solid performance, all round game as normal. So for me, I'll give him 7 out of 10. Jones for me, Jones had a good game today. I think in terms of what he produced in the first half, uh, very much involved in the build-up play, passing around, moving forward when required. The ball for Salah's goal was sublime, beautifully executed, perfectly weighted, and I thought that was a great assist from Curtis Jones. And I've said it for quite a while. I like him in that double pivot role. I feel like he's able to influence the game a lot more. From a number 10 point of view, I don't feel like he has that drive or that speed in terms of getting past players. Because I feel like in the number 10 role, you have to be quite dynamic, and I feel like he doesn't have that burst of speed. That's what I'm just trying to think of. Burst of speed to get past certain players, and also goals and assists plays a part in terms of his output. So for me, I prefer him as a number 6 or in a double pivot where he's able to retain the ball, he's able to maintain possession, spray the passes with simple passes, nothing too extravagant, and just keep the ball moving. So for me, decent performance. Really hoping he's not injured, as we need every player we need right in our upcoming games now. So for me, he gets a 7.5 out of 10. So Bosley had a decent first half. He got switched over to playing in a double pivot. For me, he became a bit anonymous, didn't really get involved in the game as much, so that's why he was taken off. As we needed a bit more of a defensive-minded player at the time, and that's when Endo was brought on. So for me, a decent performance, not as great as his previous game against Forest, I think it was. So for me, I'll give him a 7 out of 10. Mohamed Salah. Um, in terms of the goal, fantastic finish, really, really good finish. In the second half, he had that moment where maybe he should have passed it to Darwin Núñez, went for goal instead. Should have scored a second goal in the first half, actually. Very, very close to scoring. I actually thought he was more involved in today's game than he has been in previous weeks. Uh, some of his passing was a little bit wayward, but you know, the technique he's using where he's trying to hit the outside of his foot. Sometimes they pull off, sometimes they don't. That's part and parcel of being an attacker because you've got to take risk or you've got to go for those type of passes to split up a very stubborn defense like Lille were presented with today. So for me, I thought he had a very good game, much better performance. So in terms of his rating, I'm going to give him an 8.5 out of 10. Uh, Diaz for me had a good game. The more he played, I feel like the better he got. In the first half, there were quite a few passes where I felt like there were simple passes. I remember one pass where It was on the left wing, and we were on the verge of creating a counter attack. All he had to do was keep it simple, pass it to Darwin Núñez. He ended up overhitting it. So there were a couple of moments where the simple pass, was overhitting it. But then as he, got used to the game a little bit more, got a bit more confidence, he was pulling out outrageous passes, really good passes from one side to another. Um, the one where I mentioned Salah missing just before halftime, that was from a Luis Diaz pass, and then the control was equally matched by Mohamed Salah there. So for me, improved as the game went on. He looked like our real source of attack in terms of creativity. Really used his speed today, causing havoc on that left hand side. So for me, a very, very solid performance here. Very impressed with him returning back to his left wing position. So I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. And Darwin Núñez, for me, showcased a good performance today as well. Worked really hard for the team. Uh, Produced a lot of interceptions when required, pressing from the front. So definitely put in a shift today. In the second half, I noticed that his first touch was a little bit off, gave away a few balls in terms of laying up to other players. Um, a couple of moments where maybe players should have passed him because he was in good opportunity, good space to score an opportunity. So for me, good performance, a solid performance today from Darwin Núñez. So I'll give him a 7 out of 10. So that is my player rating for the first team. What I'll do now is I'll bring on the subs and we can discuss their performance as well. So quite a few, we managed to use all 5 subs today. So it was Gravenberch for McAllister. Then we had Jones for Endo. And then we had, oh, sorry, it was Elliot for Jones, but I'll just play them in the right position. So Javier came on, played in that number 10 role. And then we have Chiesa that came on for Luis Diaz. There we go. And then the final substitution was Trent for Conor Bradley. There you go. So those are the substitutions. Let's speak about McAllister because he was one of the first subs that came on. I thought it was a very welcomed substitution. I wasn't expecting it to happen at that time, but McAllister came on and definitely put his imprint into the game. Really good in terms of his distribution, got involved in our build-up play, was in advanced roles, was making things happen. Almost scored a goal himself where he produced a header from a set piece. I thought he had a really, really good game, and it bodes him well in terms of our upcoming fixtures. Because I felt in the last 2, 3 weeks he's looked a bit flat at times. Today he just felt like he had a bit more energy, a bit more. Now in terms of Harvey Elliott, yeah, for me, equally impressive performance from Harvey Elliott. I felt like he got involved in the game quite a bit. Movement was really good in terms of the final third, making the right pass at the right time, nothing too extravagant, and I felt like his all-round game was really good, helping out in terms of the defensive duties. But there was a couple of moments where, he was given a pass by Nunes, and Nunes didn't really hit it very well. So rather than sulking, he just made sure he went after that little player and then got the ball from him. So that shows his determination, it shows his work ethic and his attitude to the game. So for me, a very, very solid performance and pleased that he got to play some decent amount of minutes. 45 minutes he played today, of course, as he came on as a second half sub. Played in the number 10 role, which is his position. And he got himself a goal as well. His first Champions League goal in a Liverpool shirt, of course. So proud moment for him. And refreshing in terms of his interview after the game where he pretty much said that, this is my club. I'm not here to leave because a lot. He had a celebration where he was doing that due to the talk and the noise of potential rumors, linking him to a Brighton or Dortmund. He said, "This is my club. I'm here to say I'm not moving. I'm not going anywhere." So I like that, and I like the fact that he was saying that when he's on the bench, he doesn't just switch off. He actually analyzes the game. So when he does come on, he's already exploited the opponent's weaknesses, and he tries to take advantage of watching from the sideline because he's able to watch the whole game. So for me, that's quite refreshing. It shows you his mentality, his attitude, and it's the right approach when you're a young player because there will be times where you might not get a lot of game time, but if you have that way of thinking where even if you know you're going to come on for 5, 10, 20 minutes, but you can have an impact on the game, that only heightens your profile in the team, and then the coach will have more faith in you and play you in more games. So it only benefits the player. So he's got the right mentality and very mature in terms of how he speaks. So yeah, really refreshing interview that he did today. So for me, in terms of his performance, got the goal. Obviously, got a bit lucky in terms of deflection, but I'm giving him a man out of 10. I was very impressed with his performance today. And who else do we have? Endo came on, and I'm very pleased that Endo has been getting some game time. He came on today as well. Uh, yeah, he looked very assured. It's good to have a player where, he's not always going to be forward thinking for his position. It's defense first. And anytime they had the ball, he was sniffing around and trying to close up any play that was about to happen. So for me, that was quite refreshing. Neat and tidy on the ball, tried a few free balls on a certain occasion. So for me, good performance there. Good to see him playing some game time. Good to see also having a better faith in Endo. Has been involved a lot more in recent weeks. So I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. Chiesa, very, very interesting cameo, very impressive cameo. Um, he looked quicker on and off the ball, which is a positive sight because the points that I've been making in the last 2 3 weeks, where whenever he has come on, he just doesn't look like he's agile. He looks a bit slow. He's not very aggressive in terms of his off the ball sort of play in terms of pressing and stuff. Today, I feel like he's not quite 100%, but he's 90%. I feel like it's slowly um, coming together now, and playing on the left, he looked very comfortable. There was a couple of moments where he was dribbling and then just laid off simple passes, and it's just like the quality. You could just see what type of player he is. And look, I hope he stays injury free for the remainder of the season because I feel like he's going to have a huge impact in how we play this season. Such a valuable member to have in the squad off the bench or starting games, whatever the position. And the good thing about Chiesa is that he's multifunctional. He can play on the left, can play on the right, can play through the middle if required. So for me, yeah, a very welcome sight. And hopefully he gets some more minutes in upcoming games. So for me, I'm going to give Chiesa, might just be me being a little bit gassed there, 8 out of 10. I was very impressed with his cameo. And the final player was Trent Alexander-Arnold. Didn't have a lot of minutes, pretty much played about 10 minutes, I would say. Um, but in terms of what he brought to the table, kept it neat and tidy, played a bit more further up, played more inverted and tried to get involved. Uh, Good passing, good through balls. So I'll give him a bit above average rating. I'll give him a 7 out of 10, just because he had a positive outlook when he came on, despite only playing for a little amount of time. And that is my player rating. So drop a comment and let me know what you guys think. And that is the end of the show. So I'm just going to go through some of the comments and then we will wrap up. Um, so we got Graham Rogers here. Big up Graham. He says, I was asleep here in Thailand. I missed the game. Was it good? It wasn't vintage Liverpool, Graham. It was a professional performance. That's probably how I describe it. We played some neat football, especially in the second half. So in terms of the game, you didn't miss a spectacle or anything to that nature, but we got the job done, and that's the main thing. 7 wins out of 7. So we've got PSV coming up next week away from home. So we need to make sure we make it 8 out of 8, and yeah, try to make it into a perfect record. So yeah, a win is a win. So that's all that matters at this stage. Uh, Abdul says, "How is your son looking? How are you?" Walaikum Assalam. Abdul, I'm doing well. I hope you're doing good as well. He says, like, comment, share, subscribe. You'll never walk alone. And thanks. Big up yourself, Abdul. Uh, Abdul will go with rotation against PSV for last UCL first group games. It makes logical sense to rotate the squad. I think he'll go to a similar lineup that was presented today. I think he'll go strong. I think he'll want to try and make it to a perfect score because I feel like I don't. In terms of the benefits of finishing first, obviously, I think you get seeded with the lowest ranking team towards the bottom of the table, which could be Real Madrid or Man City. So I don't know if it favors us in that regards. I've heard that you get around 20, 25 million um, as your prize money when you qualify. So obviously that's money in the bank, whether it goes into transfers or FSG's kitty to buy other assets. That's another topic. But I'm hopeful that it does get involved in some sort of shape or form when it comes to transfers. But I think in terms of a football point of view, I think Arsenal will just want to make sure that he has a perfect record. Um, so that's what I think will happen. I think he'll go a bit stronger. I don't think he'll rotate too heavy, but it'll also depend until the injuries and what happens after the Ipswich Town game. So it just depend on the squad situation as well. Just a fuzzy. Yeah, apologies. I think my internet just went a bit fuzzy there. I've just said, will we go strong against Ipswich Town? I don't think we'll go full strength, but it will be a strong enough team. I don't think we'll rotate very heavily, but the players that weren't involved, the likes of Gakpo, he'll certainly start in that one. You've got even players that came off, like Szoboszlai came off around the hour mark. McAllister came on. Elliot. So hopefully these players will be involved in that fixture. So I think it'll be a slight rotation, but not too heavy. Kanate might be available in that fixture as well. So it will be something that we'll need to revisit very soon. That's big up. That's a big Ozzy. Do you think he starts Darwin on Saturday? He could do. It will depend if he. So I can see Gakpo returning to the lineup, so it might be a flip of a coin between Diaz and Darwin Nunes. Um, I'd probably edge it and say it would be Diaz. But Darwin Nunes would be a great option to come off the bench. So, me personally, I would go for Diaz. But Unstock may have different ideas. I've just said, did you see Bendock's goal? Great goal. I haven't seen his goal, so I'll definitely make sure I watch that before I end my evening today. So, yeah, thanks for letting me know. I'm definitely going to check that out. And that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to Graham. Thanks to Abdul and Daz. Appreciate your comments as always, guys. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. In terms of upcoming show, I'll be doing a transfer talk show tomorrow just to wrap up in terms of latest rumors circulating the Premier League. And then on Thursday, I'll be doing a match preview of Liverpool versus Ipswich Town, where I'll be joined by a special guest. So make sure you hit the notification bell. Also, you can follow me on social media for all the latest updates. You can follow me at Ozzie.ftp on Instagram, and you can also follow me at Ozzie_FTP on X/Twitter. So that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to speak with you all very, very soon. Goodbye.